Okay, so I just sent out that announcement. You see the video here. And I wanted to show you what I meant by the announcement, like what it is that I do grading-wise. So that you'll know why I did what I did, why you see a 0. If you don't see a 0, then that just means you passed the test, and now I'm going to go grade it. But I just thought that I would show you this. And everybody's asleep, that's why I'm being so quiet. So let's say we have this sample paper, right? We have Magnus Baraka's title page for his APA English 1301 paper. He has an abstract. He's got his, 4 pages, a little bit of research. And he's got a references page. This is all I'm going to be looking at when I do that first pass. I'm not going to be going through everything, just this references page. But what he has to do first is he has to submit it. So he's got this save copy. He needs to make a PDF copy for the peer review if he hasn't already by clicking PDF, hitting save. When you do that, it'll automatically open a PDF, and right now it's telling me you already have one, so I'm just going to cancel it. But Magnus Baraka needs to go and submit this paper, and this is what's going to happen. I haven't done this in a while. It never works the first time, so. Okay, so I'm going to go here to English 1301. Go to my assignments. This is my actual research paper. So if I'm going to do a peer review, I would go here, create a thread, just put the title that it says up here, which is Magnus Baraka Research Paper Peer Review Draft. And I would attach the file here. Actually, I think it's not here, it's here. You can browse your computer. I'm not actually going to do that now. I'm not going to create a thread for Magnus Baraka. In fact, I'm going to cancel. I just realized I'm not show the screen. Oh well, because it shows who submitted peer reviews. You might see peer review. That's not really a big deal, but oh well, we won't do that. Instead, we're going to go back to the assignments page. Here we are. Let me just cut all that out. So, well, I'll cut it out or I won't. We'll see. You go to the assignments page, and here on the assignments page, you would see the research paper assignment. What you need to do from here is it has the instructions there, so I've added the instructions to the assignment as well, just in case people didn't know how to find it. I'm going to browse my computer. I'm going to go here to English 1301, where I have saved my research paper. Let's see, example for class. Here we go. So I have remember I told you my PDFs back when we actually had face-to-face classes. PDFs don't display perfectly, but usually the Microsoft Word file, whatever you saw when you were writing the file, that's what it's going to look like. In fact, it'll display it even if you're on Google Docs. It might not display the most accurately in Microsoft Word, but it'll display it the accurate way it would be displayed in Microsoft Word if you had it, if that makes sense. I always prefer a docx file, especially since I can do more with it in Blackboard. I'm going to check the little box, say, sorry it's late, because at this point it's like really late. You don't really have to do that though. I'm going to submit. Now at this point, I want to make sure that I can see it. And here I can see it on the box viewer. And all I got to do now is wait for Nichols to grade it. So there's going to be some time. I got to switch over to my other Blackboard and then not show. What is this, student survey of instruction? Oh, they're still doing the surveys? What a weird semester to still do the surveys. How strange. Okay, I'm gonna make a little break here. Okay, so here I am, this is my teacher one. And this is what I see when I show up to grade. It looks just like yours, see? Except the feedback is here, and there's no extra buttons here, because all I do is I put a drop down box here, and I type my feedback. There's also a way for me to check the plagiarism, like 100%. That's pretty bad. Let me look. And it's going to show me exactly what's been copied. And I'm like, oh, everything. Okay, so you plagiarized this from, who is this? Magnus Baraka. It's terrible. In this case, I would be very suspicious. You're probably going to see something like a 50 or a 60 on yours, percentage-wise, because you're using a lot of sources, which requires quotes and paraphrases, which means you're going to be losing a lot of information, especially if you notice that at the very end, all the sources, people have used those before when they were in research papers. So your citation itself is going to show to be plagiarized. So just know if you plagiarize, if you stole it from somewhere, you're a plagiarist. But if you're just using information and citing it, that's just what a research paper is, so you're not plagiarizing. But here's what Nichols does. He shows up, and he says, okay, I've got this paper. In fact, how do I do this again? F5, it'll always go pop down to the, there we go. And what I do is I click here, and I scroll down to the bottom, go to the source page, and I do Control F, like I say in the announcement. What I do here is, first, I'm going to go through all 5 of these sources, make sure that they work. So let's say I have Bay, Blinpike, Piotrowski, Stenger Hall, and Walcott. 5 different authors. Good. I also should check all the other ones as well, but usually I just look at the lead author. There might be some of the other authors that don't, but I would just check. In this particular case, almost, but this is an older paper, so they don't meet all the page requirements, I don't think necessarily. Let's see, down here we have, this is more than 10 pages. This is 10 pages. This looks like only 7 pages, and that's more than 10, and that's 10 plus. Oh, that's Columbia Journal of General Law. It's a little bit longer. Yeah, it should be. So I think that they're all actually they're long enough. I'm also going to check and say Columbia Journal of General Law, Sex Education, American Journal of Public Health, PLOS One, and Psychology in the Schools. Okay, 5 authors, 5 journals, all represented. That's good. I'm looking for. The titles don't really matter because it's just, I don't have to reread the titles. The titles can be all kinds. They could be the exact same title written by different people. It doesn't matter. But now I'm going to check and make sure that all these sources are mentioned in the paper, right? So if you're citing all the sources and you're doing it correctly, every one of these authors' names will be mentioned within the body of the paper, right? Bay, Blinpike, Piotrowski, Stenger Hall, and Walcott. So I'm going to search, and that's when I hit Control F, bring up this little box, and I'm going to type Bay. Looks like the word behavior pops up a few times in here, so I'll have to ignore those. Behavior, there, Bay. So Bay is mentioned. I'll go ahead and push it enough times to get back down here. I'm going to hit Control F again. Notice how it highlights that box again. Blin. There's Blin. Piotrowski. I only have to do the first few letters. Yep, there it is. A few times. Stenger. Yep. And Walcott. Oh, Walcott. Walcott. There we go. So I verified. I don't know if you could tell because I was doing it pretty quickly, but that's how I really do it. Every single time I checked one of the names, it showed that it was at a different spot in the document and in this spot. So like some of them, like Stenger Hall, are only mentioned once, right? So I hit it here, and I went to the other one. It was in 2011. There was a quote, and then boom, right back down to the bottom. That means it's mentioned on the work references page, and it's mentioned in the body of the paper internally. So this doesn't check for whether or not you've mentioned the years correctly or anything. I'm just making sure you've mentioned the articles. So formatting wise, I haven't looked at any of that stuff yet. I mean, these are all formatted well enough where I could actually grade them because I see the database is mentioned, websites are mentioned, DOI numbers are mentioned. That's what I need. But I verified that all these sources are mentioned in there and that there is a references page with all the number of sources that meet all the criteria there. At this point, I will put, very simply, all sources cited, ready to grade, and I will not grade it. I will hit Save Draft. I'm not going to click that right now because it's going to take me back to the needs grading screen, which will show all the people who've submitted papers, which I don't really want that to be seen. Oh, and by the way, I will put all sources cited ready to grade if you meet all those criteria. However, if you don't meet those criteria, if there is no references page, I'll give you a 0. If you don't cite all your sources internally, like, all the names from the references page, you don't cite them in the body of the paper, I'll give you 0. Or like, if you only have 4 sources or like 3 sources, or all your sources come from the same journal. Whatever the problem is, I'm going to give you a 0. I'm going to give you the feedback for that problem. I'm going to say, look, this is what you're doing wrong. Fix it. Resubmit it. Once you get it resubmitted, then I will screen it again. And then if it still needs to be fixed, I'll give it a 0 again. But ideally, I tell you it needs to be fixed. You fix it, resubmit it, then I'll screen it again. Then it'll say all sources cited, ready to grade. And then I'll grade it once I get to it. So that's what happens if you don't see. Well, you'll never actually see all sources cited, it's ready to grade, but that's what happens if I don't say that. So really the only people who will see their papers graded the next day from this time that this video was published are people who get 0s because something's missing. So if you don't see it within like a day, then it probably means your paper is okay and it'll get graded within the regular clump of papers that all met the criteria, unless something happens like it's plagiarized. But just want to say that real quick before I moved on. So, but that's kind of how I do it. If you're in an English 1302 or Brit Lit class, there's a slightly different thing here. You'll notice that you'll have a works cited page. And instead of 5 articles, you'll actually have 6, because you'll have 5 articles and the 6th source will be the author of the story that you're writing about. Additionally, I will be making sure that of your 5 articles, at least 1 is written about the story or the author who wrote the story, and that no more than 3 are written about the author or about the story, because that would mean that you have the proper ratio of 3 or 4 world issue articles and 1 or 2 story articles, which is the ratio that you should be shooting for. I don't want to see something sort of all story articles, because that means somebody didn't follow the directions correctly. But I will do the same check like I did for the others, make sure that the author is mentioned. And this time I'll just do 6 instead of 5, and that's it. So that's what you're going to see. Now, if I notice that you have like 4 attempts, though, there is a prepared paragraph that I have that says, like, pay no attention to the 0 you see. I'm just zeroing out all the other attempts that are not your most recent so that I can grade only the most recent. So that's going to be a little bit different. But that is that. Hopefully it keeps you from panicking. Hopefully also, if you haven't done the paper yet, you can see what I'll be looking for before you grade it. I think, though, in case there's somebody who's watching this video and goes, well, it'd been nice to know that before I submitted the paper. This actually was, I think, in the main video for English 1301 at least. It might have been in English 1302 and Brit Lit video as well, but I know it was at least in the other 2. Or at least the 1301 one. So I know at least one group of people has seen this video, like me going through these steps. Might have been the most recent video, might have been like last week, but definitely this has existed in the videos before. So I really do think it was important for everybody to go back and watch those lecture videos so that what we're supposed to be being taught. Ideally, you're like, well, I shouldn't have to go to class now that class is not happening in face-to-face. You gotta get the content somehow. If you're gonna read the books, fine. If you're gonna watch the videos, it's fine. But you gotta do one. Anyways, I miss you guys a lot. I don't know if you can tell. I constantly just show myself here in my classroom. I even respect you guys too, because I have been wearing the Survivor buff all the time on my head in a ridiculous fashion, and my wife makes fun of me. I know she would be upset if I showed you myself in that Survivor buff. I've been talking far too long. You already have a lot that you have to do. Many of you aren't in situations that you would even like to be in, on top of the fact that now you have less ability for homework. You don't need to listen to me talk. So I'm right here with you guys. Anything you need from me, let me know. Email me. I'll work with you best I can. Launchpad stuff too. If you have any Launchpad issues, please let me know. I'm trying to get some Launchpad stuff worked out. I found out a way that I think that some people's accounts were kind of off in the way that they were working. So I'm going to try to get that fixed where people's names are associated properly. But miss all y'all. Can't wait to see you in the fall though soon. They're taking me for 1302 or Brit Lit. Gotta get back to face-to-face, dudes. We gotta get back to face-to-face. Summer courses, those aren't going to be face-to-face. Just found that out. All right. See y'all. Bye.